Tuesday morning. Ladies and gentlemen, with now in the hands of our Capable City Clerk, Ms. Lee Lambert.
This is a pre-meeting of the Mobile City Council Tuesday, January 24th. Appeals, we have requests for waiver of the noise ordinance on April the 9th from 7 a.m. until 10:30 in Denton Park.
Mr. Davis.
No, wait a minute, hold on. Something about this one. I'm okay with it.
Okay.
April 29th from 7 a.m. until 1 p.m. in Medal of Honor Park.
Scott.
Public hearings. Today is the public hearing to rezone property located at 1710 Dolphin Island Parkway, 2005 and 2009 Douglas Lane, and 2008 Faye Street from R1 and B2 to B2.
Go ahead.
Public hearing to rezone property located at 6712 Old Dobbin Drive North from R1, R2, and B1 to R1. Public hearing to declare the structures at 2658 Reeve Street, 1521 Clover Street, 1071 Arlington Street, 2011 Hyde Street, 3201 Lees Lane, 7127 13th Street, public nuisances and ordering them demolished. Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Derek Payne wants to suggest improvements to Hero Park. Christopher Edwards, what are the city's policies and procedures regarding high-speed police chases? Reggie Hill, Mobile Civic Center, annexation and public safety. Resolutions held over 08064, approved purchase order to Coblitz Equipment and Parts for mowers for Public Services Department. 08065, approved purchase order to Sunbelt Fire for 100 sets of leather fire boots. 09066, transfer funds from general fund, unassigned fund balance to capital improvement funds, capital project Civic Center, new parking facility. 21067, authorized contract with Whittier Surveying for surveying services at the new police department mounted unit. 21068, authorized contract with Overstreet and Associates for engineering design services for pedestrian improvements on Water Street at Beauregard Street. 21069, authorized contract with Kimberly Horn and Associates for park entrance and amphitheater improvements at Medal of Honor Park. 21070, authorized appropriation contract with Mobile County Commission for Hillwood Project. 35071, authorized ground lease and project agreement with FDS Mobile, Alabama LLC.
Mr. President,
Mr. Reynolds.
I'd ask that we hold this one over until the day after the Board of Adjustment meeting on February 6th. So hold it to February 7th so we can see the outcome of these 12 variances that were requested before we approve the lease.
Okay. Okay.
60072 and 073 are authorizing settlement agreement and release of claims. Ordinance is being introduced. 64004 is the rezoning on Dolphin Island Parkway from R1 and B2 to B2. 64005 is rezoning on Old Dobbin Drive North from R1, R2, and B1 to R1.
Yeah, Mr. Carroll.
Let's go back to the ground lease. Just a quick question. Has anyone seen the variances being requested by the board?
I have.
Huh?
I can forward them to you.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I had last week.
Yeah, I saw them. There's 12.
So everybody knows that they're relatively simple variances. So nothing really egregious.
Nothing controversial. I didn't think there was.
Right. And also I want everybody to know that the citizens of Churchford East, also down the bay, also the Mardi Gras associations all knew that this was coming before we actually had the agreement made. So
They're all good with those.
they were all good with this. This was all, some of this was part of the conversations we had when we went through. So I just want y'all to know that. There's only one thing missing though, and I talked to Jim about it this morning. Before there is a variance request, I thought that maybe they should put a contract in place too, along with the ground lease. We're only gonna have a ground lease, but not a contract before variance request. So
Contract with them,
we might need to get that.
the contract. Yeah, so the sequence, they can't, the Corps and their developer can't go under contract until they have a developer has a contract with us, a ground lease with us.
That's right.
So-
Ground lease and contract, I've only seen ground lease.
No, we don't see we're not part of the contract between the Corps and its developer. And we won't get that, that's not our purview. But they can't do that until they have a ground lease, because they have to have the ground before they get to go under contract with the Corps.
Mr. President,
Mr. Davis. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
we're willing to defer to Mr. Carroll.
I can understand that. I just want this all to be clear because it seems like there is, a little roughage there on the setback. And the setback, I'm not talking, I'm looking at you, but the statement is meant for you. But in the negotiations with all the parties involved with the property, we knew that there was going to be a request for a setback before everything was ever made or agreed to. So all parties involved were aware of this way ahead of time. Okay, I'm done.
Mr. Davis.
Is there, would there be any negative impact associated with a 2-week wait?
Question.
He's back to the address.
Will there be an impact to the Corps if there's a 2-week delay in them approving the ground lease? Okay.
What's the answer? No?
Adjustment doesn't lay it on 4 months.
That's right. And I don't know what's gonna happen. So, contract documents between the Corps and FDS, that will probably never be on our agenda simply because it's between the two of them. That's correct. So the only thing that we'd ever see would be the ground lease,
The city council seat?
the ground lease.
Yes.
And the ground lease in itself, I would say is basically a contract on how long we're gonna lease the ground, right?
Correct.
And the good thing about this is that after 20 years, we're at market rate as opposed to a 100-year lease where the city doesn't have any gain.
Correct.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk.
Consent resolutions being introduced, 03074 and 075 are appointing Jay Weber to the Water and Sewer Board of Commissioners and reappointing Ellis Foster, Patrick Murphy to the Industrial Development Board. 40076, 077, 078, 079, 080, 081 are declaring the structures public nuisances and ordering them demolished. 60082 determine and 08, I'm sorry, we're adding 160095 are determining appropriations to serving our unique people and special needs athletes program, Inc., serve a public purpose and authorizing payment. And the 60095 is sponsored by Councilmember Reynolds. Resolutions being introduced, 08083. Approved purchase order to Vulcan Construction Materials for 1,300 tons of limestone, $58,500. 08084. Approved purchase order to AutoNation Ford for 4 Ford utility body trucks, $238,314. 80085. Approved purchase order to Stivers Ford Lincoln for 2023 Ford Expedition, $51,657.
Mr.
Zero.
President,
Mr. Jones.
yeah, just, do we have any updates on the vehicle inventory list that we were working on? Is that ready?
Not quite, but it's just about ready and expect, we hope to have them in the next 10 days.
And could we get a copy of that? Is it possible? Thank you.
08086, approved purchase order to Protect Video for annual renewal of Eagle Eye camera software support and ALPR camera licenses, $262,168. 08087, approved purchase orders for fuel for various city locations. 08088, approved purchase order to Mighty Light for dance floor kits for convention center. And also for 1,000 chairs for the convention center, $27,880.92 and $207,806.32.
Mr. President,
Mr.
we
Right.
approved about $300,000 worth of chairs for the convention center earlier or late last year. Are these different chairs?
This is in addition to the chairs that we bought before. And it fell into a budget situation and also a number of chairs that we could buy, so.
Oh, I got you.
Split it up.
Mhm.
08090, approved purchase order to K&K Systems, Inc. for solar power radar feedback speed limit signs, $18,217.92.
Mr. President,
Mr. Penn.
where will these radar feedback speed limited signs be located?
It's an old shell in Kenneth. This is the dewdrop issue. This is part of our feedback.
All right. I thank you so much. We have a lot of traffic going that way, and I believe this is a great benefit and help to that area.
Yeah, it's right on the edge of our two districts. Yeah, and then very unfortunate. Right there with Donaghy, the Dewdrop, and now the new breakfast place. It's a nightmare on a Sunday morning. I mean, you can't even get through there. What else are we doing? Are we gonna put a crosswalk in, or?
Yeah, we're still studying other calming designs that we implement to really try to calm that area down and make it a lot safer. So we're still looking at that.
Mhm.
We'll probably be coming back to you with other recommendations.
Yeah, Chief, my bad.
Yeah, it's
You
fine.
gonna-
Go ahead.
Do we have a time, scheduled for that when we might be able to see the next
I
suggestions?
don't think it's really, it's really, maybe within another,
What, saw these?
no, other design recommendations. Is that
Yeah.
what you're asking?
Yes.
We should, within a few weeks, have other design recommendations for that. And I think there's been a lot of conversation about a pedestrian crosswalk, maybe with signaling, and also do a raised pedestrian crosswalk with kind of action slow, or do we just keep it on the ground? We're just trying to study that, because it is a major corridor for like fire trucks. So, we don't know that we want a terror suspension of it, but we're working on that. We should come back to you soon with a design recommendation.
Thank you.
It's the hot.
This is intersection of Old Shell and Mobile Infirmary Boulevard.
Yeah,
That's correct.
Kenneth, Lucille,
Kenneth.
had 100 names over the years.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it's the only dog leg street we have in the city. I mean, the only one. Let me say that then. It's the only dog leg street I know we have in District 2. I mean, because it's a true dog leg.
Something very interesting with, I think we can put in all the traffic calming devices that we want, but until we enforce areas and start giving tickets and holding people accountable. In a very interesting thread I noticed this week, there was some police activity in a neighborhood that was basically a speed trap. And never in my 57 years have I ever seen a community applaud a speed trap. And that's the first time ever. And they want more. And to see that shift, I think that's a dynamic conversation that took place when you have citizens asking for more speed traps. I think that tells us a story that we need to listen to. And I think we need more traffic patrol folks in neighborhoods. I know with technology, and I was just having this conversation with Gina this morning, technology with the intelligence that they have and the automated intelligence now take our cell phone data and they figure out what routes we're taking and what's the fastest route. Then they publicize that is the route to take. And some of those routes go through our neighborhoods. And we're seeing a huge increase in traffic through neighborhoods because of the intelligence that we have on our cell phones now. And that's something I think we're going to have to look at, and we need to study, and we need to figure out how do we, because these roads in these neighborhoods weren't designed to handle that. And it's creating a security and safety issue in these neighborhoods. And it's something that I think we need to get ahead of as the technology is there and being used. And I don't think we can stop that. I don't think there's a way that we can reach out to Google Maps or whatever Maps apps there are and say, hey, you can't use this as a through route. And for instance, my neighborhood, which we've been talking for years, that is now an improved route on Maps app to go to University of South Alabama or businesses there from Airport Boulevard. They actually take you there as the quickest way. As just an example. And I think I told Gina this morning after we've shut down McGregor, it will be very interesting to see what morphs as these traffic patterns change and what that automated technology does with some of these other routes. So something I think we need to get ahead of and start looking at. Thanks.
Well, that way they have, at least on the interstate, let's see, when there's construction going on, your map app or whatever, GPS will say something like, reroute, construction ahead, or something along those lines. So I don't know how and if they pick up on these smaller closings, like closing McGregor, if anybody picks up on something like that.
It's all driven on phone data.
Zero 8091, approved purchase order to TS Wall and Sons for flooring for Fire Training Center, $21,687. 08092, approved purchase order to Chris Francis Tree Care for tree pruning on Mardi Gras parade routes, $29,987.
President Fong,
Yes.
on, 08092, we'd ask for you unanimous consent so we can go ahead and get prepared for Mardi Gras. This is to clear the routes, the hybrid trees and limbs.
Anyone have any issues?
No, but I thought y'all were already doing it. I was behind somebody pruning trees on Government Street.
It's city and contract both. This is the contract element of it. The city's doing some as well.
Let me just waive the rules on that one.
Yes.
Immediate consideration.
21093, authorized contract with Goodwin Mills K. Wood for design and construction administration for a public safety training center, $997,206.53.
So what is this?
So, design and site selection, relocating fire training and police training off the current site center, Virginia Street.
Off of Virginia Street?
Correct.
So you're gonna move it from there totally?
Correct.
I think they have to. Then it's a cemetery issue.
Right.
That's right.
It's a good issue.
Well, cemetery issue.
It's on the
Yeah, it's on top of cemetery, but it's in the very back there.
It has to do with deed restrictions. We never should have constructed on there to begin with.
We all know what's there, so.
Correct.
21094, authorized contract with Tyndall Construction for line set repairs at the Sanger Theater, $49,975.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Reynolds.
these line set repairs at the Sanger, didn't we just put brand new equipment in the Sanger Theater? HVAC equipment? And is this where these line sets replaced? Are we? For the what?
Rigging.
Oh, rigging. Okay, gotcha.
Announcements.
Anything from the council?
President,
Go ahead, I'll wait.
we will have our entitlement committee meeting today at 1 p.m. in the pre-conference room. Council.
Thank you. First, man, I was driving down Dolphin Street last week and that big old pothole was fixed. Thank y'all. Thank y'all, man. Awesome. I know the neighbors at McPhillips and everywhere else are going to be happy. Also, the one on the inside's been done. We got a couple more, but I was really excited that the truck didn't say, whoa, whoa. That was a big thank you. I'm very, very, very thankful for that. I know the neighbors are too. We've been waiting for a while. The other thing is that once again, I can't say enough about Mobile Parks and Recreation in this weekend's STEM project. Great turnout, great visibility, very educational. The kids enjoyed it. Everyone, even the parents that were there enjoyed it. And I know my sister-in-law, she can't stop talking about it because she was even involved with it. So great thing. And the other thing is that I've asked South Alabama over and over and over again for some type of presence so that the university is felt in District 2. They really turned out with their kids from the health, from their, I think is it Allied Health Department, their medical department. They had South Alabama everywhere. So it was a good weekend at Texas Street Park for the STEM project for Parks and Recreations. It was a really, really great weekend. I'm probably going to talk about this again, but awesome job, you guys from Parks and Recreation. But again, the pothole is gone, man. Thank y'all so much. Thank you. Thank you. Well, not because of me, but it's actually out of the way. I mean, it was a ditch in the middle of the street, and we finally got it. Thank y'all. Good job.
Anything else from this council? Mr. Mayor.
I'd like to bring up and just ask a question about that, the stormwater deal. Are y'all looking for anything else from the administration? Are y'all waiting on us to provide information?
FDC, the Corps contract.
Of course, ground
Yeah.
laws. Is there anything we can do to keep it from continuing to be kicked down the road?
Well, I'm ready to pass it today. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, it's only one request that it be laid over or held over, and I guess we'll have to deal with that at 10:30, and if we either voted up or down at that time and do whatever else we have to do then.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yeah, I would be I guess my question back would be, we've heard there's no harm in it. So what would be the harm in holding and waiting until the Board of Adjustment decides whether or not they're going to accept the variance? I guess that would be my.
The harm that comes to my mind is that every time we kick something down the road with all the balls that we have in the air trying to move multiple projects along simultaneously, it just slows everything down because we will take time again to revisit, try to make the decisions. If there's something to be gained for it, I get it. If there's not, then I question why not doing it.
I would just say that it's, I guess, somewhat an abundance of caution that before we enter into the 100-year lease, that we know that the variance, of course, would be proved, which there seems to be some level of confidence there, and that we're not entered into a lease and now there's implications where maybe the board or other parties start allocating money and, it puts them in a bind. So that's what.
Anything else anyone? If not, we'll see each other at 10:30.
The other thing with that is, I wouldn't want to preclude the Board of Zoning Adjustments to make a decision because we've passed this, and they make a decision because